Good evening, my friends. It's Steve with Real Progressives. How are you all tonight? This is special because it's nice and warm out tonight. And we've got the candle lights that we haven't had in a year. And my friends, the tree frogs, have returned. The tree frogs are indeed joining up with us tonight. Tonight's story is going to be a relatively short one, but it's going to be one that I think that we all should be able to relate to. It starts with the story of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, back in the early days of his campaign, his hashtag, if you will, for back in the day, pre-hashtag, was, "It's the economy, stupid." Y'all remember that? That was Bill Clinton. That was Brother Bill's famous line, "It's the economy, stupid." And Carville repeated it, and all the other fools repeated it. And it would have been a great strategy. It was a great strategy. They won the election, unfortunately, or fortunately, or however you want to look at it. But the fact is that the economy, it is the economy, and it is the economy, stupid, right? But you've got to actually get this, because as you look and see what we're trying to fight for, you begin to understand, at least I believe you should understand, that we all agree on almost all of the issues. The thing that makes Real Progressives stand out from others is that our focus is not only on the progressive agenda that all of us shake hands and lock arms and agree to. We stand for equality just like everybody else, right? But we mean it. We stand for inclusion. We stand for the environment. We stand for ecological justice. We stand for proper elections, elections that we can believe in, a system that we can believe in. We stand for anti-corruption. We stand for honest embrace of democracy by all, even people we don't like. We want them to have a voice too. And so you ask yourself, what is it then, Steve, that makes you different than anybody else? Not just you, but Real Progressives. And it's the fact that we understand that we can dream an even bigger dream, that we can expand the realm of possibility to epic proportions, that we can really, really dream about a better tomorrow than what your politicians and your local community chapters of your local favorite groups are telling you is possible today. It's because we understand how things get funded through our federal financing and how money gets created in a monetarily sovereign nation. We understand these things so we can dream a bigger dream. And we can help you understand how to position a bigger dream and how you can sell a bigger dream to other people within organizations you're already a part of, and to the local officials and the politicians that you would otherwise support, but haven't got a clue how to pay for it. Now, I want to tell you something. Ro Khanna, a guy who's a Justice Democrat, he was slaughtered today. Okay, on the secular dude, man. Okay, he was slaughtered. Okay, because, once again, a real progressive, somebody who claims to be a progressive, stood for the corporate Dem. Gillibrand stands for the corporate Dem. They're both not supporting the progressive, once again, in office. Why is this? Because neoliberals are going to be neoliberals. And neoliberals are always going to support neoliberals. And when you don't understand how things get paid for, the neoliberals can huddle together and baffle you with bullshit. They can baffle you with all these fights. We're fighting for you. We're taking it, man. We're fighting for you. But really what they're doing is they're selling you a bill of goods and they're lying to you. And they're telling you Well, if the Republicans would just stop cutting taxes, we could have Medicare for all, my friends. But if you notice, the Democrats just recently slashed the word single payer out of their platform. You realize they saw it as divisive. Why would the Democratic Party, who's supposed to stand for health care as a right, slash that and say that it's divisive? Why would over and over again progressives support corporate Dems instead of their progressive challengers? Why would they repeatedly throw their support behind people that are neoliberal and would literally dream a smaller dream, make you think they're fighting for you with their bullshit, while at the same time lulling you to sleep? So I'm here to tell you, it's time to take the blinders off. It's time to stop pretending you don't know what the problem is. It's time for you to realize that they have used our collective ignorance about how things are paid for against us. Just today, in cruising around the debate circuit, was a guy who was lecturing us about how paying taxes is the price you have to pay for living in civilized society. Well, as you well know, taxes are very important, but they don't pay for anything, right? But this is what the neoliberals from Robert Reich, who tells you this stuff, through Simon Wren-Lewis in the UK, back to Paul Krugman, and every single one of these Democratic and unfortunately Green and Republican candidates will tell you that we've got to raise revenues to pay for stuff. Nancy Pelosi's out there running around saying that we have to we have to be able to pay for our programs with increased taxes or cuts here and there. These rules that are put in place are rules that are not economically sound. They're not even remotely good for the people or the economy. They are literally there to prevent you and I from being able to have nice things. Now, we complain about the Russians interfering with our elections, but what about corporate America? What about corporations interfering with elections? Oh, wait a minute. They have corporate personhood, don't they? So in our country, we have corporations interfering with elections that block our voices, that block our ability to make real, bold, progressive change. All the while, the neoliberals are pointing over there to the Ruskies. Hey, you Russians over there, you got to stop messing with our elections. Ooh, you mind you. Okay? They're so angry, they're ready to drop bombs on Russia. They're ready to entertain whatever it takes to keep the facade up, to block us from realizing that Hillary Clinton was a really, really, really bad candidate that nobody wanted. Nobody with a brain wanted. Nobody with a brain wanted. Okay? Not a soul with a brain wanted her. And this takes us back to Brother Bill. It's the economy, stupid. Now, we've seen no change in the common speak amongst politicians. We've seen no change in the common speak amongst the mainstream media. And we've seen very little change in terms of the common descriptors of our people in our movement. Just yesterday, I was watching one of the very, very nice, cute, sweet, strong, positive, young progressive women out there who was fighting the good fight, talking about how Medicare and Social Security were going to go bankrupt. Now, this is a burner. This is a progressive. This is one that leads the fight of the young millennials, fist in the air, selfies included, but fist in the air, okay? They're talking about Social Security going bankrupt, how the country is going bankrupt, how these programs are going bankrupt. Now, that is not an economically literate thing to say. That's an economically illiterate thing to say. And it is prevalent all over the place. We have a situation, my friends, where every single thing we want to do is being assaulted by the good guys. the people that are supposed to be the good guys. They're out there literally sabotaging progress. Now, the only way that Social Security could ever go broke is if the people keystroking the checks to Social Security recipients broke all their fingers, spilled their coffee on their keyboard, literally spilled some rubber cement on there so they couldn't keystroke dollars into existence anymore. That's the only way that Social Security is going broke. So why in God's name? Why in Buddha's name? Why in friggin' that frog's name behind me do we have progressives still talking about Social Security going broke? Why do we have a single one talking about programs going broke? Why do we have a single progressive at this point in our lives? 2018, my friends. It's time to take the milk and cookies for Santa and put it over there in the old stories of yesteryear and start focusing on how economics actually works, because it's key to us winning. It's key to us winning. They're out there literally fist in the air, selfies, chick, chick, all that stuff, talking about Social Security going broke. Now here we are. We could be talking about it all night long, telling them point blank, folks, Social Security, just like war bonds back in World War II, takes money out of the economy. Just like all taxes, FICA taxes are deleted. Oh, but you say you get a report that says how much you paid into it. Yeah, you do. Isn't that interesting? They keep a tally of that because they want you to feel like you've got skin in the game. Do you understand skin in the game? This is about my Social Security. I paid into it since 1919. I'm entitled to my Social Security. Do you understand this is a very good psychological thing that they did? But the reality is that the government keystrokes, it prints, it does whatever. Your money is not sitting there in some account. There's not some old 1919 nickel, some hay penny shoved off in some vault somewhere in the Social Security Trust Fund spreadsheet that has been sitting around waiting for you to collect on it. That's not how this game works. They keep a tally of it so that you have a mental buy-in to Social Security. All the sayings from Paul Ryan and all the other Republicans, all these nut jobbers, these nutters that say this stuff to try to privatize it. All of these fools that are trying to privatize Social Security know inherently that it cannot go broke. And they know that we could have green energy yesterday. They know that we could have Medicare for all without any problem whatsoever. They're serving their corporate masters. And while they serve their corporate masters to keep you placated, they make you believe that they're going broke so we can't do it. So you will fight against everyone else to tell them how bad they are about their taxes, about how they got to pay their fair share of taxes to afford that thing. My friends, taxes upon receipt are deleted. You pay your taxes in cash, guess what happens? It's shredded. It's shredded. They got bags, vaults of dollars that have been shredded. These are not forever items. Unless you're a business and you framed your dollar bill on the wall. It's like, yeah, I like my dollar. It's my first dollar we ever made as a company. It's right there. Otherwise, dollars are destroyed day in and day out. They're created, they're destroyed. They're created, they're destroyed. There is no just printing more money. Because as we're spending money into existence, we're taxing money out of existence. It's not just print more money. Money doesn't just last forever. Money is literally deleted upon receipt. Once it's passed its tour de floor, once it's gone around and done its thing, it's deleted when it's received as a tax. So when we're talking about this brave, potential, progressive agenda, it's not a matter of whether we can do it. We can do it. It's not a matter of whether it's simple as shit to do. It is. It's a matter of us not knowing any better and them using that to keep us in the squalor, to keep us in the pig slop, to keep us from being successful. And all the fists in the air friends taking selfies, talking about Social Security going broke, are helping them unwittingly. They're very innocent. They just are ignorant. but they are literally playing in to the austerity narrative that keeps you and I destitute, keeps us permanently in chains. It's not because of the Federal Reserve. It's not because of some other mamby-pamby made-up game. It's because Congress will not spend on us because we believe the government is broke and should be run like a household budget. It's because we believe this. But here's the thing, the story of a fiat currency, a non-pegged sovereign fiat currency. Many, many, many moons ago, a king would say, I want to build a bridge. I want to build an aqueduct. I want to build a castle. I want to build something very important, a library maybe. Maybe it would be a big, huge amphitheater where we can do theater, whatever. And he'd say, how do I do this? Well, I can either have slaves or I can pay people to do this work. Why don't I give them this gold coin, mind you? Now, mind you, the people are sitting there fishing. They're doing their own crops. They're taking care of their family. They're working hard days. They're dirty. They're not getting good showers, whatever. But that's what they're doing. And all of a sudden the king runs through and says, how about if I give you this gold coin? And they look at him and they're like, what am I going to do with that gold coin? Give me a lamb. Give me a sheep. Give me something. But what am I going to do with that coin? King goes, good point. What are you going to do with it? I know what I'll do. I'll impose a tax on your home, your hut. And it's payable only in this coin. It's got my face on it. And that's the only thing that you can pay your tax in. You can't pay it in Bitcoin. You can't pay it in chicken necks. You can't pay it in diamonds. You can't pay it in barrels of oil. You can only pay it in this special coin, this special edition Julius Caesar coin, this Steve Grumbine coin, this U.S. president coin, whatever. You can only pay your tax in this thing. So now you got to do something to get this thing, because the king has imposed a tax on your home. He doesn't need that coin to pay for the bridges. He doesn't need that coin to build the amphitheater. He doesn't need that coin to build the aqueducts. He doesn't need that coin to do anything. He needs you to need it so that he can get you to do work for him. That's how a fiat currency works. It's not backed by gold. It's not backed by chicken necks. It's not backed by the petrodollar. It's only backed by the need to pay it in taxes. That's what it's backed by. So taxes don't pay for things. The king's going to get his aqueduct. The thing he can't have is workers. The thing he can't have is raw materials. So he's using this to get that. Do you understand? And that's the same thing with Medicare today. That's the same thing with green energy today. That's the same thing with paying for student loans today. They can pay for it immediately. There is no need for your and my tax dollar, our hard-earned tax dollar, baby, to pay for those things because they are deleted. Vamoom, gone. 8-track. See you, Stella, out of here. Okay? So when you hear people talking about, we got to raise taxes to pay for this, that, and the other. Well, they're wrong, right? I mean, they're wrong. They're verifiably wrong. The only reason these pieces of paper retain their value at all is because the government's unit of account is the only thing that can satisfy your tax liability. Does this make sense? $1 is the government's unit of account, whether it's printed by Billy Bob Thornton or Joey down the street or the Federal Reserve or Billy Bucks in the corner. It doesn't matter. As long as the federal government says the only way that you can pay your tax is with this piece of paper or this coin or this unit of account, then it will retain its value, because if you don't pay your tax, guess what happens? You go to jail. You get your wages garnished. You lose your home. You lose everything. So the tax doesn't pay for anything, but it keeps you needing the government's unit of account. Does this make sense? This is like rock star easy to understand. It's just like so easy a caveman could get it, right? Yes. It is. So why is our movement so hamstrung by the gibberish of, oh my God, the whole thing's going to collapse. Oh my God. You know, the government had a choice. It could have easily bailed out every homeowner during the Great Collapse. It could have bailed out every one of us. It could have made a decision to bail out Main Street instead of Wall Street. But the cronies decided to bail out Wall Street and leave us hanging on the vine with debt strapped to our necks like a friggin' death note. So we, the people, have been duped, and we continue to fight amongst each other about this very simple, easily understood fact about fiat currencies. You know, when we bought and sold bonds, war bonds back in the day, war bonds were not there because the government needed our money to pay for the war. That's not why they did it. Think about this, my friends. The American economy was overheating. Every single human being in the country was working, including children. There was no more productive capacity. If anybody needed anything else, it was going to cost through the roof because we couldn't produce anymore. We were maxed out. Every factory was cranking at full speed. Every single one of them was cranked, working the war machine. Man, woman, and child were manning and in every one of these factories, cranking it out. They were answering phones. They were typing things. They were doing whatever it took to support the war effort. So the government had to do something to slow the economy down. So they issued war bonds to take money out of the economy to slow it down, to stave off inflation. Rather than raise taxes, they sold bonds to make you believe, just like Social Security, that you're paying to support the war effort. You're paying to support the war effort. Be patriotic. Buy war bonds, damn it. And it's just like this. Hey guys, Social Security, we got to pay into it. I've been paying into it my whole life. I'm entitled to it. See how they got you? Now, yes, it should be expanded. Cost of living increases. It should be absolutely serving as a basic income for people that don't want or are not able to work. We should expand Social Security to meet that need, but we should have a federal job guarantee to ensure that every single man, woman in this country and anywhere in between that wants a job, that wants to work, can have a job. Federally funded, locally administered. So your local community decides what it wants to do. This is not make work. This is not dig a hole, fill a hole, dig a hole, fill a hole. This is not any other gibberish. This is about what your local community needs. And at that point in time, the federal government pays whenever people roll on or they roll off the job guarantee program. What do? The federal government's expenditures go up to pay for those people that want to go on the job guarantee. Well, where's that money coming from? That's right, keystrokes. It's not your hard-earned tax dollar paying for it. Do you understand this? We could cut taxes and we could increase spending, but then that would blow up the deficit. And that has been the political ping pong ball of the Democrats and the Republicans. And they fight back and forth about the deficit. We got to reduce the deficit. We got to increase the deficit. We got to reduce the deficit. Oh my God, the debt. We've got to be fiscally responsible. We got to eat our peas. We got to eat our peas. They tell us this over and over and over again until you're so worn out that you don't even begin to fight for a New Deal. You don't even fight for a New Deal. So you wouldn't know corruption if it hit you in the head. Why is that? Because you don't even know federal finance. You're still talking about the Pentagon having all this money spent that's off the books. You're still talking about all this stuff. Well, guess what? Where do you think that money came from? Let me ask you another question. This is an important one. How come we never hear anybody talk about inflation when we build bombs? Things that make you go, Why doesn't anyone ever talk about inflation or devaluing my dollar when we build bombs? How come every time we drop freedom bombs all over the world, baby, how come we don't talk about devaluing the dollar? How come we don't ever talk about inflation? We're spending money. Those bombs don't just come out of good luck. It's not like Trolls where the little camel shits out some friggin' cupcakes. No, these bombs are bought and paid for by public money, by our government spending money into existence. You understand? Our government spends money into existence every single time it spends on anything. Every single time it spends a new dollar. And every time it taxes, it deletes a dollar. That's the circuit. Now, why wouldn't millennials with their fist in the air, taking selfies, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? Why wouldn't they take the time to learn that those taxes are deleted so they stop fighting the wrong fight and they start lifting up because they are deceptive? The people above, the TV shows, every one of them, the news stations, every one of them, the politicians, every one of them, the party people, every one of them, the shill, Paul Krugman, every single bullshit artist of them all says the same thing. It's integrated in every aspect of our lives. Every aspect of our lives, they tell these lies and they becomes your truth. It becomes your reality. And then because you're starving and your family's struggling and you can't pay your bills, you're wondering how the federal government can do all these things if it doesn't have a balanced budget. So you get resentful at the federal government for being able to do all these things. But guess what? The federal government neither has means nor doesn't have means. It's the creator of the dollar, wherever the hell it comes from on the keyboard. It's the government's legal tender. It's their unit of account. Just like the UK, just like Australia, just like Japan, just like Russia, just like China. Every one of them, the same. There is no petro yen for all you folks out there who want to talk about the petrodollar. There is no petro won. There is no petro euro. There is no petro renminbi. There is no petro lira. There is no petro euro. There is no petro pound. And yet they're able to do these things. China, spending like crazy. Japan, 250% debt to GDP ratio. Folks, the reason why we talk, the reason why we have to talk about this is because we all agree on the issues. But we don't understand the economic game, and that's how the establishment destroys us. That's how these candidates destroy us. That's how the parties destroy us. And that's how people that are sweet, cherubic little men like Robert Reich, who talks about having to cut spending here to get spending there, that is austerity. Do you understand? You see all over Europe, they get it. In Europe, they get it. They're like, fuck austerity. No more austerity. No more tough choices. We want our national health service. We want high-speed rail like China has. We want these things. The dream is there for Americans. We are not in any way, shape, or form a people that don't have imaginations. We can dream a better dream. And when you learn modern monetary theory, you can also learn how to fund your dream, which the other neoliberals, they don't know how to do. And that, my friends, is our differentiator. That's why we'll be successful. That's why we're fighting as hard as we are. Because we love the progressive agenda. We love the Green New Deal. We love the idea of having a national health service, including dental care for all. We love the idea of moms and dads being able to make choices for their family, to be able to stay home with their children if they want to, and raise their kids the way they want to. We support these things, and we can tell you how to pay for them. And if you listen and you pay attention to the modern monetary theory economists and those candidates smart enough and willing enough to step out and embrace it, that's why they are the ones to listen to, because they will guide the path to making great things happen. And we're going to be there as a translator with our fist in the air. And when I'm telling you a fist, I'm talking about one that'll cold cock you. We're talking about the kind of fist that really gets things done. Not just a vote for Summer, vote for Pedro. I'm talking about one that says, I want a new deal and I want it now. That kind of fist. That's what we're throwing up, man. That fist is up. Rock solid, ready to do damage in solidarity. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a good night, everybody.